Hey, it's Shay again with another episode of Making Grace Valor and kind of my workflow that I'm processing through here as I go on the pilot. One of the characters I needed is Grace's dad. Grace's parents are agricultural scientists, but I wanted him to have kind of a 50s throwback inspiration. A lot of the initial inspiration for Grace Valor was kind of 50s pulp sci-fi stuff and mid-century modern look and a little bit of rockabilly kind of stuff. So that fit in. So I wanted him to be kind of a Stallone and the Lords of Flatbush movie. Where he's kind of a big bulky guy, but the character's really kind-hearted. So I thought that'd be a fun kind of thing for a scientist to just be this kind of big bulky greaser guy initially. You'll see that change as we go. But this is a quick sketch that I worked up. You know, it's again, I'm sketching out very quickly now on this project. Normally previous to this workflow, I would spend hours refining a sketch and a design. But I knew kind of the body type. I knew the basic color, the basic shapes, basic haircut, basic vibe of the character. So I start with a really quick sketch, throw in some color just for something to grab onto. And then I brought it into modify and prompted 3D animated style male character, strong, stocky build, black wavy haired sideburns, 5 o'clock shadow, wine colored and light cream colored shirt, worn denim jeans, cuffed at the bottom, basically describing the sketch. And I use Nano Banana Pro for that. And so I get this, and I get this, and that, and they all adhere pretty closely to my sketch, but also my instructions in the prompt. I like that one. But they're all pretty consistent too in the look. There's a little variation, but they stay consistent throughout, so they stick to the sketch pretty well. And then I switch to a different model, and it goes way off from what I'm after. Doesn't really adhere to. Actually, I didn't have the inspiration sketch in that. I think that model didn't allow for a reference. But I don't care for any of those. Same here. This is what you can get without a sketch. These are a little beyond what I was wanting. So back to my sketch. This is with Sea Dream 4, so it's a different model. Don't like what it did as much to that. So then I go back to Nano Banana Pro and decided I didn't like his original clothing from the first batches, so I picked a source image here. So I settled on this version, right? That pose, that look. And then I changed the clothes up. So I used to work in the fashion industry. I've got tons of photos of vintage shirts and vintage jeans I've collected over time. What we did is it was a company that worked in the denim industry, and that whole worn denim, distressed denim look, they kind of pioneered that. For jeans, you buy brand new, look old. They are probably the ones who created that look initially, and they brought me in to kind of be able to do the same with t-shirts. So I have a lot of old t-shirts that are worn and used, or references that I found of them. And so this, pulled off of eBay, just an image there to kind of get the look of it, right? But I collected tons of those images over the years. And then just in Nano Banana, replace the shirt with the shirt from the reference, replace the jeans from the jeans with the reference, same with the shoes, right? And so it refits your character with that information. And this gives it a couple different versions. And I think I settled on that one. Get good wear patterns in the wrinkles of the jeans. So I settled on that, or one of those. And then just went crazy again. So I started with, again, my image that I settled on. I stretched his proportions a little bit, played with the proportions a little bit more. You can see, then I decided to start putting in, he will also need to be in a flight suit of some sort. So he'll have his daily wear and his flight suit. So I started working on, flight suit iteration. And again, prompting retro sci-fi, outer space suit, and then I get a little sleeker and slimmer, more like a motorcycle jacket and pants, and just kind of go. And then why not? Why not have the Elvis-inspired flight suit? But just go on and on and on and on, and there are dozens more variations of this. And so I like this one quite a bit. But I had it open up the jacket, get rid of the helmet, and give him a sidearm. So that's his final flight suit look. But then I decided, no, Grace has got red hair, and none of the other characters in her family have red hair, so that needed to come from her dad. So I take this and just switch it up, change his, nose up a little bit, give him red hair, red beard. He's a little more Irish. And then there's some wavy hair. And there's a much younger version. There's an older version with the gray hair. There's somewhere in between the Stallone-inspired version and this version. Very beardy. And so I settled on this one. That's the final look I settled on. And then I have it generate a bunch of different expressions. And actually, I think it's the same set of expressions twice. But I can feed these back into Nano Banana anytime he appears, or I need him to appear. I can feed this back into Nano Banana, and it will keep it on model, which you'll find over time is that's still the trickiest thing with animation is staying on model from shot to shot. And so being able to have a reference image that you use every time you start a new scene helps with that quite a bit. So that's really quickly how I generated the character for Grace's father. Again, I start with an original sketch and then let the AI work with me to create what I eventually end up with. So we start from that and end up with that over time. All right, thanks.